Coach, preseason is obviously, not necessarily all about wins and losses, but what were your takeaways from this contest tonight?
The same thing we've been talking about throughout camp. It's in the details, and I don't think we really executed that tonight. We had 19 turnovers for 24 points, 22 transition points, and they had 50 points in the paint. So, again, it's about learning. It's about growing and getting better. And we did some good things throughout the night, but then it's, again, you turn around and you look at being able to sustain that same effort.
The turnovers may have been there, but the willingness to share the basketball, high number of assists. Just how have you seen that unselfishness throughout camp and that willingness to share the basketball?
Well, I have to go back and look at the tape, but I really think they were trying to do the right thing. It wasn't necessarily selfish plays. It was trying to make the aggressive play, and they had guys in gaps, and it probably was a split second too quick that we didn't make the pass. And I think in those instances, we'll go back and look at the film to show where they were helping off the strong side, and it's a quick hit to the corner. They were coming all the way over from the weak side, and if we skip it, the ball, it's easy knockdown three. So it was our willingness, but we got to make sure that we're willing to adjust to how the defense is playing us.
At least statistically through the preseason, you guys have done well limiting turnovers. And I know you have to look at the tape still, but what was New Orleans doing that maybe caused a few more of those turnovers, or was it just all was some of it just self-inflicted, or all of it self-inflicted?
I think it was a little. Give them credit. They did a very good job being aggressive, getting after the basketball. They're switching, jumping out in pick and rolls. And again, it's the split-second decision that we've worked on, and our guys recognize and see it. That to beat that aggression, you have to make simple decisions and simple reads. And once you make that pass, you got to be willing to come off of it right away. And, I think we tried to do that a few times, but just being able to do it consistently is where we're going to continue to get better.
Coach, starters got an extended look in that first quarter. I think they were together for about 8 minutes in that first quarter. What's your confidence level like with that group of five in particular?
I think, if he's watching the first two games, they've been really good. Tonight was just more about, like, how do we get their conditioning up? How do we get that continuity to continue to grow? And part of it is when certain things are happening throughout the game, you want them to be able to adjust on the fly and recognize what's happening, because it's not always that you can call a timeout. And this group has done a very good job of communicating with one another, and that's what we're continuing to see and we want to see.
What did you make of your second unit, the second five guys that came out there, and the way they played?
I thought, to Dan's point, they did a great job of sharing the basketball, making the simple play, making the easy read, recognizing how the defense was covering them. The pressure backed off a little bit, but it was great to see them willing and wanting to share the basketball, communicating with one another. The same thing we've been asking throughout camp.
What did you make of Jonathan's defensive effort tonight? And is he limited in minutes at all, just as he continues to work back?
I think we're going to continue to monitor, watching him as games go in and out. But his defensive effort is something that we've known he's capable of doing. He's one of the best defenders I've ever been around. His IQ on the defensive end is just something special. He's covering up for guys. He's communicating. Obviously, I think he walked away with 3 block shots in basically 10 minutes. I mean, that's a very good defensive effort. And then it's not to, talk about the plays where he just altered shots. I think those things are big keys that our guys continue to recognize how valuable he is.
Coach, we know Cole Anthony brings a lot of energy and intensity on a night in and night out basis over here.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how he's really embraced that 6-man role and providing that spark off the bench, a guy who has a lot of poise when it comes to that second unit?
Well, I think Cole has done a great job to what you're saying. He's embraced what, he's been asked to do. And, his decision-making, his playmaking, and, we don't even talk about how he's done a great job of defending the ball. He's one of the guys picking up full court, changing the defense, starting it out, full court to make sure that he has a presence with our defense. But just the simple decision-making is what, we've been asked him to do, and he's accepted that role very well.
Defensively, what are you seeing from the rest of the team? I know we talked a little about Jonathan, but what are you seeing from the rest of the team, able to kind of get down, especially when they're able to get set in the half court?
When we're in the half court, I think we'll be one of the toughest teams to score on because of our length, because of our size, our ability to communicate. Obviously there were some breakdowns tonight with, dribble penetration, the ball getting to the middle of the floor, and we'll clean that up. And these guys understand that. They know that, a lot of our principles and concepts that we'll go back and look at and make sure that we tighten it up.
Paolo had another kind of tough shooting night. I mean, I know it's just preseason, but with the player that young, are you concerned at all about his ability to kind of rev it up when the regular season begins, or is he trying to look to do some different things here in the preseason?
I think Paolo's going to continue to do different aspects of the game, and we've said this before about him. He's going to do whatever is necessary to help win, and whether he's having an off shooting night, he's going to look to attack the basket, and whether he's getting calls or not, he's going to look to find his teammates when they do drop and sink in the paint. So he's always going to try to do the right thing in order to find teammates and find a way to win the game.
Franz, you guys are now, 3 preseason games in. Have you found any, similar ties, takeaways through 3 games for this team?
I think we played overall with great effort all these 3 games. I think it's going to come down to not being ourselves. We had a lot of turnovers tonight that they turned into easy points. And then I thought we played solid defensively, but a lot of possessions we didn't finish the job well, didn't get the rebound, gave them second chance opportunity. So I think if we would have cleaned that up tonight, the outcome would have been a lot different. I think we would have gotten a little bit better flow offensively too. But yeah, I think that's a theme even for some of the games earlier where we had, I think, like 15 in Cleveland or something like that, and I think 17 in New Orleans. So I think we got to clean that up.
What did you think of the way you guys were able to share the ball tonight? 27 assists. You've had 27 in each of the preseason games, or close to that number.
I think you can definitely see that we try to execute what the coaches give us in terms of our game plan and plays, and try to make the right play. I think today was a day where sometimes there were a couple open shots or solid shots from 3 that we didn't take, and then went back into the paint where everybody was. But I think as we get a rhythm, as we play more together, I think we'll clean that up too. I think it's awesome though to see that we want to share the ball and want to play together.
What did you make of your brother's performance tonight off the bench?
Yeah, played really well. Played his game. Kept the ball movement up as he's in the lineup. The ball doesn't stick when he's out there, and really efficient night for him.
You mentioned that the turnovers. Statistically, at least, you guys have done decently with turnovers here in the preseason. What kind of was New Orleans doing, or what were you guys doing maybe differently, or what are you seeing with the turnovers you guys are committing so far?
I do think we got a little bit sped up. They applied a little bit more pressure than maybe in the first game where we played them. So I think we had a couple of those possessions in Cleveland where we punished teams that were really aggressive with us and with back cuts and setting good screens and stuff like that. I think we did that to start the third a little bit and some of the other parts of the game as well. But overall, I think we were kind of a little bit sped up. Like I said, didn't take some easy ones that we had, and then didn't get a better one later in the clock. So I think that's what I saw. Yeah.
Hey, Franz, going to ask you the same question I actually asked your older brother a couple minutes ago. How much do you think playing in the international play this offseason really helped you grow as an athlete individually on and off the court?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience, really challenging experience for me, but it was a lot of fun. I think I learned a lot about how I want to play, how I want to approach the game, mentally, physically, stuff like that. I think it always helps playing a lot, and especially in important games. When every detail matters. So I think that was a really cool experience for me. And I think basketball-wise, the game is a little bit slower, and it's not as much space as in the NBA. So I think those are 2 things where I still have to get better at, how I find my advantages there. So I think that's why it was really cool for me to play on that level and kind of figure out how I can be effective there.
Hey, Franz, you scored 19 points in 19 minutes, and you were 3 for 6 from the three-point line. Was that something that you worked on in the offseason and with FIBA play in basketball?
Shooting the 3?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something I've been working on since I've been in Orlando now. just different ways of shooting, shooting a little bit quicker in practice. We do all types of drills to make the game a little bit more easier on that side, yeah.
Franz, next time y'all play an NBA team, it's going to be for the opener next week against Houston. Do you feel like this team is ready for that? And if they're not, then what needs to happen between now and next week to get ready?
Obviously, we didn't play perfect basketball to this point, but I do think that we've made huge strides, and I really like how we're communicating out there. I think that's the biggest thing, that we're seeing stuff and talking to each other. And overall, I think we've played a solid preseason so far, so I'm excited for next week.
Mo, you guys are now 3 preseason games in. You know, what have been your big takeaways through 3 preseason games thus far?
That's a good question. I mean, it's difficult to say, honestly. I think we have a lot of potential defensively. I think we've showed that in all 3 games. The way we communicate, our length, the way we play off of each other defensively, I think that's a very high level early. But defense always comes first in the season, and it always works kind of earlier. In our offense, we've been struggling a little bit, it feels like, turning the ball over too much and giving up buckets in transition because of that. So those are kind of my 2 takeaways so far.
How critical is it for this group to kind of limit their turnovers and as part of the overall kind of philosophy, or what do you guys want to try and do this year?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, kind of it's part of your defense, you know. If you give up the ball, they don't have to take it out of the net. They can run, they can play with pace, and that's so much harder to guard. And our strength is defense, so you want to have people playing set plays. Want to slow them down, and turnovers doesn't achieve that at all. And then at the same time, every turnover is not a shot for you. So 19 more shots today would have won us the game easily. Obviously, this is preseason, but I mean that's kind of gotta be the mentality, you know. So it's super crucial. I think we gotta take that more serious and kind of slow down a little bit.
Hey, Mo, good game from you tonight, individually speaking. I know it didn't come in a winning effort, but how much do you think playing with your younger brother this summer over in FIBA with the international play, how much do you think that's helped you grow individually as an athlete?
To play with Franz, or in general FIBA?
Just in general.
Oh, to play with Franz, I mean, he was hurt all tournament. No, I'm just kidding. It's incredible. It's such a different style of basketball. It's so challenging. And if you want to win, you really got to change your mindset from a somewhat superficial mindset to a winning mindset. You got to play your role. There's a very small margin of error and very high level of detail that you got to bring every game. And it's just a totally different game with the spacing, and there's no fouls in the paint basically. So it's a lot harder to score, and it challenges you in any aspect, in every aspect, and I'm very happy I got that privilege to play there every year and embrace that.
From your perspective, what type of defensive disruptor is Jonathan Isaac, and what was it like playing with him tonight?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, he's almost, it's almost so challenging, like almost because you're so trained to help. And with him, you don't have to. And he takes it up on himself to not wanting help either. So obviously, once you get that rhythm together, I think we had 11 games last year, and our second lineup was so good defensively just because he was in there, and basically takes the pick and roll out of the equation. It makes it so much easier for the big guy to get back to your man. And yeah, he's an incredible rebounder as well. So he makes up for mistakes, and it's great to have him on our team.
Well, there's been a lot of talk this preseason about continuity and keeping things the same and doing all that, but I would think it's safe to say that you guys as a team are looking for different results than you had last year. So is there anything that you guys are specifically looking to change about this year's team versus last year's?
No, I mean, that's not how it works. I think maturity doesn't come from today to tomorrow. You know, it's not just a thing. Good things take time, and I think there's a certain level of patience that everybody needs to bring to the table, and at the same time, a high level of urgency as well. I think we've had that the past 2 years, ever since Mose got here. The vibe has been the same in the gym. And it's on us to develop, obviously, but I think with the energy and the vibe you feel in the practice facility every day, I'm not sure that's not a given, but I think that's kind of what we do every day. I'm not worried about that at all, and now it's on us to mature, and that just takes time. And obviously we got to hold us accountable as well, but that's why we have the right people in that locker room, and I'm looking forward to be part of that process.
Kind of building on that, you've had, I think the team's had at least 27 assists in all 3 of these preseason games. How important is that aspect of being able to move the ball, passing the ball at a high level to kind of feeding this offense?
Yeah, I think execution is super important for us, especially when you struggle to score a little bit. So I think locking in on that, playing off of each other, executing, being focused, and obviously everybody works really hard here, and passing the ball is showing trust in your teammates, and I think you can see that with this group, which is amazing to be part of. It just makes it's just more fun to play that way. Again, maybe you can feel I'm very grateful to be part of that group.